as a fan of the Mario Party franchise, I have to be honest with you, okay? The last few games in the series were not that good, okay? But now, Mario Party is back to its roots with Super Mario Party. No more cars, baby. It's the good old board game with the coins and the stars. And this game also features 80 new mini-games. And there's a lot of those that are pretty freaking good. This list is dedicated to those minigames that are so fun that you start dancing like a crazy person when they come up in the selection during the board game. Hey, I'm Nico, and here's my personal top 10 best Super Mario Party minigames. So, in the Nintendo 64 game Mario Party 2, there was a game called Roll Call, and the point was to count how many bums, boos or toads there was on screen at one time while they were moving around, disappearing, or for the bums just blowing up. Ouch. Well, Senseless Census is kind of the spiritual successor to this game. In this one, you must walk around a train to try to count how many toads there are hanging out there. It's not the most complicated mini-game, but there's a couple of little tricks to try to fool you. Some of the toads are running left and right in the train, some are trying to hide behind others, and sometimes there are some objects that actually look like toads, but they're not. I also like the amount of detail put into what each and every little toads do. Some of them are reading the newspaper, others are playing Super Mario Party in tabletop mode on their Nintendo Switch. All these little details are there to distract you from your main objective, and it does work sometimes. One of the new minigame category in Super Mario Party are all those rhythm-based minigames where you do tons of stuff like stabbing fruits, riding horses, pulling a cloth off a table without making the glasses fall down, but my favorite rhythm minigame has to be Rhythm and a Bruise, cause in this one you swing your hammer to the music to hit the moles coming out of the holes. It's a new take on the whole whack-a-mole classic game, But you know what's even funnier than that? Well, there's a new character in Super Mario Party, Monty Mole. And if you decide to play Rhythm and Bruise with Monty Mole, you can clearly see he's not really feeling it. What am I doing with my life? Why am I hitting my brothers? Please forgive me, everybody. Aww, poor Monty Mole. He must feel really bad. Do you guys remember this Amazon delivery drone ad that was very popular a while ago? I don't know what happened with that. I've never seen one of those drones looking up in the sky. Well, it turns out that might be because they've been busy testing it in the Mushroom Kingdom. Sign, Steal, Deliver is a 1 vs 3 minigame where you gotta get as many packages as you can in a short amount of time. The catch being that the solo player is controlling a flying drone while the team players are doing it the old traditional way, going up and down the staircase and picking the boxes up in their hands. The thing they have going for themselves is the fact that they can carry 2 boxes at once, and with the drone you can't do that. But I mean, it can fly and steal the packages from the players, so that's always a plus. Now, when can I expect to receive my copy of Super Smash Bros. Ultimate via drone, Amazon? I'm waiting! Next up is Sizzling Steaks, a minigame where you gotta cook a delicious looking cube of meat equally on all of its sides. And to do so you must flip the cube in all of the directions using the motion controls of the Joy-Con. But how do you tell when a side is fully seared and ready to be flipped? Well, this is where the magic of HD Rumble comes into play. When the steak is cooking, you'll feel it sizzling in your hands, and once it's cooked, the rumbling effect will stop, which is when you want to flip it to another side. It's a really simple mini game really, but it's actually pretty fun and it actually really makes me hungry. Look at that delicious steak cube. I mean, look at those Greek lemon roasted potatoes, those deliciously cooked asparagus, this wonderful looking cherry tomato. Just lovely. Ain't that right, Gordon?
Fucking delicious.
I knew it. You know, I always was a fan of those little adventure mini-games, you know, like running of the bulb in Mario Party 1, platform peril in Mario Party 2, Polar Extreme in Mario Party 9, you know, those minigames where you must go from the beginning to the end while collecting coins and surviving. Well, Follow the Money is just like that. In this one, you gotta avoid enemies while collecting as many coins as you can, and you'd think that being the first is the strategy to win, and while it can actually work out fine, the game balances that by making coins appear behind you, so you know you usually want to come back for more coins. Also, there's a couple of different maps and enemies. One time you're gonna be avoiding thwomps, the other time you'll dodge bullet bills, and so on. Now that's a great way of keeping it fresh. Do you remember those moons in Super Mario Odyssey where you had to make a face by capturing the eyes and mouth of a Goomba, and even Mario at one point, to try to get the most realistic face ever? Well, now they're making a minigame just like that. You may not get to use Cappy this time around, but instead you and your teammate have to work out to drop the facial elements just at the right spot. That's exactly what making faces is about. One of the characters can move the crane up and down, and the other one can move it left and right. So you know, you can't do the face all alone by yourself. You really have to work with your teammate if you want this to work. Hey, this one's not bad. Let's see how the other team did. Oh. Yeah, guys, that's totally Bowser. Good job. They were pretty bad, let's be real. One of my favorite games to play with friends has to be Overcooked. It's a game where you and your friends are chefs and you're supposed to work together to cook all sorts of foods in a limited amount of time. It gets pretty hectic and kind of insane at times. So you know, when I first got a look at Dash and Dine, I realized it was practically the same thing. So basically in this one, Toad is going to give out 3 ingredients he needs to make the food, and you and your teammate have to work together to get those ingredients. The thing is, the space is very limited in this kitchen, so you and your partner, or you know, you and your opponents, constantly run into each other, making it very difficult to reach certain ingredients. Oh, and did I mention this poor dishwashing Toad that keeps walking around with a pile of plates in his hands? Like, poor Toad, he can barely walk with all of those, and how is he even seeing where he's going? Man, I wouldn't want to be that Toad. Now this next minigame I find super original. In Toad the Line, you and your teammate must work together to recreate the pattern that appears in the middle of the screen. The thing is, it kinda gets confusing real fast if both teammates start walking in any direction. Like, everything gets mixed up and you're stuck. So you really have to stop for a minute and think about what the best move shall be. Yo, excuse me, sir, where are you going? Now I'm stuck. Alright, man. Good job, dude. Yeah. See, that's the fun part about this game. The fact that if you start messing up, it gets even more complicated to try and fix that mistake. This is the type of minigame where you can easily end up screaming at your friends on the couch because he's not doing what he's supposed to do. You know, kinda like in Snipper Clips. Yeah, come to think of it, this minigame is the Snipper Clips of Super Mario Party. I grew up playing a lot of Nintendo 64 as a kid, so obviously I've played the first Mario Party game a lot of times, and one of my favorite minigame back then was Bumper Ball. I still think it's a pretty fun minigame, although I gotta admit that it ends up in a draw way too often. Well, what if you took this exact same minigame, made it HD, put 12 balls at once, and gave people a charging spinning attack? Well, you'd get Bumper Brawl! Yes, this game is chaotic, and yes, it gets pretty crazy, but hey, you gotta admit, it kind of fixed the problem the previous one had. Like, there's no more draws since you can do the crazy attacks now. I still wish there would be a 4-player mode because 12 people at once can be a little bit overwhelming. I usually just attack anyone that's in my way regardless of which team they're on. That might not be the best strategy. Alright, so this last minigame is truly amazing. It's called Fuzzy Flight School, and in this minigame you gotta dodge the fuzzies moving everywhere. And you gotta do it for as long as you can. Well, you know, at least in the online mode you gotta do that. Well, in this game you move by tilting the Joy-Con, and it actually works super well. The game starts off pretty easy, but it can get quite crazy after a while. Like, look at this part, how am I supposed to dodge all of those? At least you don't die on your first hit, because that would be super difficult. You actually have 3 lives in this one, and you gotta save them at the beginning when it's easy, because you really wanna have them for those latter parts. Out of all the minigames that Super Mario Party introduced, this one is definitely my favorite, and I'm actually pretty happy it's one of the 10 minigames that are playable online. I love defeating people from all over the world with my insane pro strat. I mean, look at that! What are they gonna do? They can't touch me. That's my pro strat. Copyright. Don't steal, please. Thank you. Hey, thanks a lot for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, you can always subscribe, turn on notification, and give it a little like. It helps me out. I also want to know what your favorite Super Mario Party minigames are, so just tell me in the comment section down below. If you want more top 10s, tap the screen right now. You can tap here or there and you'll get a new video. It's super simple. Alright, I'll see you in the next one.